G'day, I'm Troy, and this is the Comic Book Movie Collector's Guide, the show about collecting all things superhero cinema. And today we're going to take a gander at Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, Season 1 on DVD. And we're going to try and answer the question, were his friends really that amazing? I don't know. What do you say we get into it? Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends is an animated superhero cartoon that went for 3 seasons with a combined total of 24 episodes with a runtime of 25 minutes each. It aired on the American television network NBC from the 12th of September 1981 through to the 5th of November 1983. The first season of the cartoon was released on DVD by Clear Vision on the 29th of September 2008. With no Blu-ray or 4K HD as of this video. It was developed by Stan Lee, with it being directed by Don Jurwich. The cartoon was produced by Marvel Productions and distributed by New World Television. The series became available on Disney Plus streaming service on the 12th of November 2019, but the episode The Quest of the Red Skull is excluded due to its Nazi references. Okay, if we look at the case, not too bad. I don't mind this one. This doesn't look too bad at all. I think there is another version out there. There's a complete box set version, which I'll have up here, which I kind of like it just probably a smidge better, but still, this looks good nonetheless. And if we look at the spine, not too bad there at all. They look good on the shelf, especially with a lot of the other Clear Vision and JetX ones. They're all very similar. And on the back, I like it. They do this sort of comic book look on the back of it. There's heaps of stuff there, heaps of photos, heaps of descriptions. Really great look. Gives you everything you need to see on the back cover there. Now, as far as the discs go, yay, colour disc, I like that. And you can see Spider-Man at the forefront from the cover, and then they've done one with Firestar, and then one with Iceman in the background. Nice little touch there, I think, putting one of each on top, but not a bad looking disc at all. So overall, very happy with these ones. I'm always happy with these Clear Vision ones. They always seem to put just that little bit of extra time and effort into them. So for this one, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. So the show follows Peter Parker and his friends Bobby Drake and Angelica Jones, who all go to the college together at Empire State University. They also work together as the Spider Friends, a superhero team under their alter egos of Spider-Man, Iceman, and Firestar, keeping New York safe from an array of Marvel's worst villains.
Me, a villain? No way!
Now, the first thing that struck me about this cartoon was the amount of action there was in every episode, say compared to a lot of your cartoons from the 70s, which was great. It was great to see sort of keep the episode moving along, and you're not getting bogged down in, say, some boring dialogue or exposition. Now, the stories themselves were great too, featuring like this all-star cast of Marvel villains from Doctor Doom to Magneto to Loki. It was just not your usual suspect, shall we say, of Spider-Man's rogue gallery. But having Firestar and Iceman in the mix would really allow you to explore more options for different villains to face off against.
The possibilities are endless here.
Now, it had very playful dialogue amongst the group, with them constantly sort of giving each other shit in PG-rated form, that is. And the constant references of who they were dating was sort of trying to reinforce that they were all still teenagers at the end of the day. Overall, this is one of the better cartoons of the early 80s, and it was probably why this was one of the most popular cartoons of its time as well. So with that, I'm going to give this a 27 out of 30. Now, as far as the characters go, they are, very faithful to their comic book source material of the 80s for the heroes and the villains alike. Although Firestar was a new creation for this show, which she has since been written into Marvel lore. Now, she was created as there was the initial pitch for it was to have the Human Torch in there and to be part of the series, but due to some licensing agreements they were unable to use him, so they created Firestar, which for me I think worked out better from a story and a team perspective. Now, for the animation, it was definitely a step up, shall we say, from the Spider-Man cartoon of the 60s. Now, don't get me wrong, I love that cartoon to death, but you can see a big difference in the animation style. I mean, look, they even put all of his Spider-Man webs on his suit this time.
It's definitely an improvement.
As for the voice actors, I'll have the list up here, and look, I've only put the main characters here, as the list of everyone who was on this show is pretty damn long. So I think this kind of covers just your main characters. But I think everyone pretty much just nailed their characters. But there was only one thing that it kind of threw me a bit, was Frank Welker. Well, I'll get it right in a minute. Frank Welker as Iceman. And if you've been living under a rock, you know he's also done the voice of Fred from Scooby-Doo. And it's pretty much just what he does here, is he just plays this Fred-like character, which, don't get me wrong, wasn't bad, but all I could think about was, when's Scooby-Doo going to show up, you know? Anyway, it was a sound job from everyone all around the board, and I'm going to give this an 18 out of 20. Okay, look, as usual with these clear vision releases, there are, as you can see, no special features on these discs, which is just the episodes, which is always a shame, as I would have loved to have seen some sort of retrospective on this show and like how it was made, you know. But anyway, alas, it is what it is, and of course, when there's no special features, I can only give it the score of, yep, you guessed it, 0 out of 10. Now, the critic score came in at 0%, and the audience score came in at 69%.
69.
Now, as this is an old TV show, of course there is no reviews for it from the critics, but it's good to see there's a decent score out there from the audience on this. Probably a lot of people, like myself, who grew up with this cartoon, give it some high scores. So anyway, look, if we round it up, we are going to get a score of 7 out of 10. For me, I used to watch this as a kid back in the early 80s when it came out on weekday morning cartoon shows, and I loved it back then. And now watching it almost 40 years later, for me it still holds up. And I didn't realise how many different Marvel characters guest starred in this cartoon, which for me kept me interested, you know, watching it from episode to episode. I was like, wow, they have Captain America. Bugging me dead, there's Magneto. Holy shit, that's Thor. I mean, it was a who's who of Marvel characters, which was great to see.
There are so many of them.
One thing to remember is this DVD is all 13 episodes, whereas if you were to watch it on Disney Plus, they don't have episode 13, which features the Red Skull and Nazis. And well, that's because of the Nazi themes in it. And they've decided to leave it off the platform, which I think is kind of silly, because what do they think kids will, you know, become Nazis if they watch this? I mean, hell, all of us kids in the 80s watched it and we turned out fine.
It's endlessly debatable, but no.
Anyway, another thing I noticed as an adult was how promiscuous the team was, as they were either dating each other or talking about dating other people all the time. In one episode alone, the guys just badger Firestar all episode while they're fighting Dr. Doom about who she's going to be going out with that night, because they're both just like super jealous, which was kind of weird.
God damn it! Stop sexually harassing me!
It felt like the writers were like, okay, so what are they going to do when they're not fighting crime? Now, what do teenagers like to do? Think about it. Oh, yeah, I know what they like to do. They like to fuck.
Please, watch your language.
Anyway, despite the whole love triangle thing, this is a good cartoon, and I did enjoy watching it again. So, for that, I'm going to give this a score of 18 out of 20. So, first up is Collectibility, and if we look at the collector scale, I would say this would be for everybody, as this has something for kids and adults alike. It's a great throwback to 80s cartoons, and it's a great addition to anyone's collection. Now, as far as availability goes, this one is on the rare side of things, as it's out of print and you can only really find a few copies out there on sale on the second-hand markets like eBay. As far as your average price goes, you are looking at somewhere between $35 to $80 just for season 1. So it pays to shop around a bit. But if you want to pick up, say, the full box set of all 3 seasons, that's where you're looking at the money, and you are looking at anywhere between $55 to $270 on DVD. So again, it pays to shop around as the prices do vary heaps. And of course, there is nothing for Blu-ray or 4K HD as of this video. Now, for the final score, we get a grand total of 77 out of 100. Not a bad score from a great Spider-Man cartoon from the 80s. So look, we asked the question, were his friends really that amazing? Yes, they really were. It was a solid, action-packed cartoon from the 80s. Well, at least it was action-packed when they weren't all trying to screw each other, that is.
Sex, that's all they think about it.
Hey, so if you like this video and you want to see some more of my reviews, I got some for you there. And maybe you want to see some of my collection updates. Hey, I got you covered too. Why don't you go check out that one there. And of course, don't forget to do the most important thing. Throw me a bat like, and don't forget to hit that subscription button on the way out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.